Imagination, fueled by big dreams, has the power to turn almost any possibility into reality. You shape your own world. When faced with a crisis, we typically have two main ways to react. At first, we might see it as an urgent problem, which is a normal response in the beginning. Alternatively, we can tackle it with creativity and new ideas. Looking at this from a biological angle helps us understand how both individuals and societies handle crises. When we encounter tough situations, our bodies activate an ancient survival system called the fight or flight response. This system pushes us to deal with threats by giving us extra energy. Back in the day, this helped our ancestors escape predators. But today, everyday stressors like money worries, work pressure, or even Wi-Fi trouble can trigger this same response. Usually, organisms can handle short bursts of stress. For example, a zebra chased by a lion goes back to grazing once the danger is gone, getting back to normal. Basically, stress messes with the balance of our body and brain, and the stress response tries to fix it. But if we can't switch off this response, it can make us sick. So, when we treat a crisis like an emergency, our bodies release chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol, making us feel angry, scared, or hopeless. These chemicals make us focus on ourselves and act selfishly. This selfish response is a sad result during a crisis. When everyone acts this way, it makes the crisis worse. Selfishness and competition take over, making it hard to deal with the problem. Plus, stress chemicals narrow our view of things, making us see the world in a negative way. We feel distant from others, compete aggressively, and use tricks to get what we want. In this state, we're easily controlled because fear, competition, and anger keep us apart. Dealing with a crisis by being selfish just makes things worse, splitting up communities and causing chaos. Possibility seems hard to grasp sometimes, but if we see a crisis as a chance to do something new, hidden behind a tough situation, we can come up with smart ideas. This means we need to think differently to match what's happening around us. When we think up new stuff and get creative, a part of our brain called the frontal lobe gets busy. It helps us ask big questions and think of fresh ways to deal with what's going on. So, the big challenge when things change is not doing the same old stuff again. Imagine this. Every day, we have about 60 to 70,000 thoughts, and most of them are just repeats from yesterday. Doing the same things over and over makes us act the same way, feel the same, and get the same results, shaping who we are. To make a new reality, we've got to look at our thoughts, actions, and feelings. We need to decide if the way we usually think helps us get where we want to go or stops us. Getting to know ourselves and watching what we do are super important steps in making habits that help us reach our goals. It's important to remember that how we feel and act comes from our body, and that's what shapes our own world. Changing a whole culture means changing each person in it. So, we've got to get folks to make different choices, think up new stuff, and be creative. Humans are really good at being creative. When things go wrong, like the economy getting shaky, or when leaders let us down, or when we feel like nobody's got our back, we need to use our creative skills to adapt to what's happening. Our world is often shaped by what's going on around us, and that can affect how we think and feel. Sometimes it feels like we can't do much about it. But can we change how we think and feel to change what's happening around us? It's a tricky idea, especially when we're worried about basic stuff like food or taking care of our families. So, what else can we do? There aren't tons of options, but when we start asking open-ended questions like, how can I change my business in this crazy world? Or how can I make my future better? Some pretty amazing things can happen. And the key to all this is getting knowledge and info. Learning something new makes fresh connections in our brain. That's what learning really is. So when we try out new ideas and gather new info, our brain starts working in a different way. It sends out signals in new patterns, making new links, and this changes the way we think. Basically, our mind is just our brain doing stuff. When we get creative, something cool happens. We stop letting our survival instincts rule us, those feelings that make us see the future like it's the past all over again. To make a whole new way of living, we've got to let go of the old habits that kept us going until now. This change is where genius and cool new ideas begin. When we start doing stuff, that's when the real magic kicks in. Think about Steve Jobs, the guy who helped start Apple but got kicked out before starting Pixar. Later, he went back to Apple and became a big shot there. Lots of folks would be crushed by getting fired, but a real go-getter starts looking for new adventures. People often let their feelings about what happens to them define who they are. But imagine someone loses their job and decides it's not a loss, but a chance to try something new. Then they start moving beyond what they used to be and into new territory. It can be scary to change because we're used to what's familiar. But the folks who dare to try something new find themselves in the best spot to make something totally different. When they embrace this new stuff, they open doors to cool things they never knew about before. These days, we can see crises in two ways, as big problems or as chances to think up new stuff and change. When we start believing in what's possible, we help ourselves and others break free from doing the same old things. But here's the catch. Just thinking about changing things or dreaming of a better world isn't enough. We've got to live the change we want to see. To really bring peace, we've got to be peaceful in everything we do. And to bring in good stuff, we've got to think like good stuff's already here. When people start taking better care of themselves and change how they deal with their emotions, we move away from being all about ourselves because of stress hormones. Instead, we become more about helping others. When we're in this helpful state, we think about what's good for everyone when we make choices. We believe in a better tomorrow and feel like we're all connected. This caring attitude helps us see that everything we do affects others, and what they do affects us too. Plus, when people really start taking care of themselves and get past their own doubts, they begin a journey of loving themselves for real. True self-love happens when we get over things like being mad, scared, or feeling unsure. The result is loving life, feeling spontaneous, and being genuinely happy, which is how we're supposed to be. We often think feeling angry, scared, worried, or unsure is normal, but those are just temporary feelings. Our real selves are all about feeling free, inspired, and joyful. When we start changing ourselves, it can lead to a change in our whole culture. When we do things that aren't expected, others notice, and it sets off a chain reaction. As more people start making these changes, the whole group can change too. Especially in tough times, we should see problems as chances to come up with new ideas and change things for the better. To do that, we've got to look beyond what we already know, learn new stuff, and do things to make tomorrow brighter. The hardest part of this journey is finding the time to learn, get ready, and plan for the future while being brave enough to try new things. When we realize that change is important and actually do it, we can move away from always dealing with one crisis after another and start being more about helping each other. When we all embrace this caring attitude and show it in our lives, we let the idea of making things better shape our future. This switch to caring and working together has the power to totally change our culture and make a world where there's plenty for everyone and peace all around. We need to get how our thoughts, feelings, and this connection we have to everything around us work together. Your brain is amazing, with lots of neurons and connections that make up your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Your brain doesn't just react to what's happening. It actually creates your reality based on how you see things. And your mind isn't just in your brain. It's all over your body. So, every thought you have makes chemicals and hormones that change how you feel, both physically and emotionally. This means your thoughts aren't just in your head. They really do affect how you're doing overall. The brain's ability to change and adapt, known as neuroplasticity, is a big deal in understanding how powerful your mind is. It means your brain isn't set in stone. It can rewire itself based on what you think and what you go through. By sticking to certain thoughts and feelings, you can change how your brain's wired, which then changes how you see things and how you act. Thoughts aren't just vague things. They're a type of energy. In science, it's said that everything in the world, even your thoughts, is made of energy vibrating at different speeds. This means your thoughts have a real energy that connects with everything around you. When your thoughts and feelings match up, they create a kind of harmony. This harmony sends out a vibe that matches with similar vibes from everything around you, like tuning in to a radio station. In science, there's something called the observer effect, which says that just watching something can change how it behaves, especially on a tiny scale like atoms. Similarly, when you focus hard on something and really want it to happen, it can affect what goes on in your life. So, your mind isn't just sitting back and watching. It's actively taking part in making things happen. Knowing how powerful your mind is means understanding that you can choose what you think, how you feel, and what you do. You can steer where your life goes by putting your mind and emotions into what you want. This idea comes with a lot of responsibility and power. It means you can change your life by changing what you think and feel. You're not just stuck with whatever happens. You're in charge of making your own path. Feelings aren't just feelings. They're a kind of energy too. When you feel something, your body makes certain chemicals and hormones that affect how you're feeling all over. These changes have a big impact on how you're doing, both mentally and physically. So, your feelings team up with your thoughts and actions in a cycle. For instance, when you're scared, your thoughts start leaning towards being scared too, which leads to actions that match up with being scared. This cycle can either help you reach your goals or hold you back, depending on what feelings you're having. Your feelings send out vibes that connect with everything around us. It's like a big web of energy and info that makes up everything. When you're feeling good, you're in tune with the higher vibes in this energy web, making it easier to get what you want. Changing how you feel means turning those low vibes into higher ones, like swapping fear for bravery or anger for kindness. It's not about ignoring your feelings, but facing them and choosing to feel better. Your deep down thoughts and beliefs, the ones that run on autopilot, are really affected by how you're feeling. So, your feelings are like a link between what you're aware of and what's hidden away. When you keep feeling good, you teach your brain to help you out with what you want. Your heart is super important in all of this. Studies show it makes its own electric field that can affect your brain and your body. When you fill your heart with good feelings, it sends strong signals to your brain, making you feel even better. Emotional harmony happens when your heart and brain are working together, making you feel calm and happy. When you're in this groove, your body works its best, and your brain becomes a powerful tool for getting what you want. Changing how you feel takes time and practice. It's not about ignoring bad feelings, but choosing to focus on the good ones. Doing stuff like meditation or staying mindful can help you get good at controlling how you feel. When you keep feeling good and in line with what you want, you're sending out a strong vibe to the world around you. This makes it more likely you'll get what you want, turning your dreams into reality. First things first, get super clear about what you want to make happen. Be really specific about your dreams and picture them like they're already real. This sets a solid plan in your mind, kind of like a blueprint for how things should go in the big energy web of the universe. Regular meditation helps a lot with this. It helps you take control of your thoughts and feelings. It's like turning down the noise in your head so you can get to the part that really makes changes, deep down inside. Being mindful means you notice how you usually think and can push yourself to think more about what you want. Focus on what's happening right now, because that's when things start to change. Forget about stuff you wish you'd done differently and stuff you're worried about in the future. Just be here, right now, where you can make choices that lead to what you want. Start acting like your dreams have already come true. This makes your plans even stronger and tells the universe you're ready for what you want. Do stuff that lines up with your dreams. Trust that things will work out and let the universe do its thing. Change takes time and effort, so be patient with yourself and what's happening. Keep going even when it feels like nothing's happening on the outside. Remember, you're not just watching life happen. You're a big part of making it happen. Science tells us how your thoughts and feelings connect to the world you see around you. So, when you understand how powerful your mind is, how your thoughts and feelings work together, and when you start feeling good and focused, you open up a world of endless possibilities. Your mind isn't just stuck inside your head. It's way bigger than that. It shapes the world around you with what you think and focus on. The universe picks up on your good vibes and makes stuff happen that lines up with what you want. So, as you keep going, remember that you've got what it takes to change things and make your biggest dreams come true. This knowledge comes with a lot of power, so embrace it. Like I always say, change your mind, change your life. It's not just something cool to say. It's a big truth backed by science and real-life experience. You've got the power to make your world what you want it to be.